Frankie from Flatbush rides the Brooklyn line. Got a swagger sharp like a vintage wine. Everybody knows his name from porch to stoop. Hustle and dreams in every loop. In the park he struts, hits the handball wall. Echoes hear the stories when the shadows fall. Got 1,000 tales and a confident grin. On the streets of Flatbush where legends begin. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go. Bodega lights flicker when Frankie's near. He's got the rhythm, everybody cheers. Corner talks and sidewalk chalks his fame. In the Flatbush breeze you'll hear his name. Underneath the subway hum, the magic's real. Frankie's moves got that electric feel. From Atlantic Avenue to the urban hill, Flatbush Frankie's giving you a thrill. Frankie from Flatbush got the city glow, lighting up the borough with his every show. He's the heart of Brooklyn, never laying low. Frankie from Flatbush, always on the go.
Todd, can you hear me? Check, check, 1, 2. Can you guys hear the music? Can you hear me? What are you guys hearing? Testing, testing, testing. Harlan and Todd, let me know what you're hearing. Let me know if you can hear me and or the music. Thank you. And if you like the music. Let me know what you guys are hearing. Can you hear? Everything okay? Is this music playing? What's going on? We got to do some testing. Testing, testing, testing. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys see me? What's going on out there? We got to do some testing this morning. Well, Labe says yes. Yes, what? Audio is good. Okay, can you hear the music? Do you like the music? What about the music? There's music playing. Audio is good. Can hear you and the music. Okay, I guess that works then. The old Frankie from Flatbush theme song. If you got a theme song, you got to play it, right? I mean, it's a point of having a theme song and you never use it. I put it out as a video. Nobody watched it, but I figured why not use the theme song that we do have? All right, so let's cut this off. So that works. So that's good to know. Sounds and picture all good, Todd says. All right. Well, that's good. All right, so let's get on with the show, shall we? So lots of things happening in the world of football. It's January the 12th, 2025, 10:03 a.m. This is the Coffee with Frankie show. This is the coffee. I'm the Frankie. So hope you're having a good Sunday morning. We're starting to get some playoff results in. Those who were joining me last night, like Todd and Harlan, for example, we watched the Pittsburgh Steelers go down in flames, perhaps not unexpected, to the Baltimore Ravens. And already they're starting the drumbeat of let's get rid of Mike Tomlin. You know, maybe it's time for Mike Tomlin to get out of Pittsburgh. Maybe it's time for the Steelers to move on from Coach T. And if that were to be the case, there would be a lot of teams lined up to get Mike Tomlin, including your New York Jets. And so that's interesting. Another interesting thing is that Rex Ryan, a coaching candidate for our head coaching position, said that the Chargers, your Los Angeles, formerly San Diego Chargers, would have a bye week, quote unquote, facing the Texans. Well, that didn't turn out to be the case, as the Texans stomped the Chargers, as the Chargers did a lot of chargering yesterday. And D'Amico Ryans and Joe Mixon and a lot of the players took note of what Rex Ryan said, and they shoved it right in his face because he's a know-nothing blowhard. Now, speaking of our coaching candidacy, you may wonder you may have lost track of who are we, in fact, putting on here in terms of the coaches and what's going on. So let's take a look and see. Let's remember what's going on with the searches. Harlan says, "What happened to our friend from across the pond?" I think you're talking about Phil Adams, the great Phil Adams. Well, who knows? It's not, of course, morning in England right now. It's about 3 p.m., 3:05 p.m. in Great Britain, London town. The man may have something to do, Harlan. I mean, and not everybody can attend every single Jet live stream. Sometimes people have things to do in their lives, believe it or not, Harlan. So let's check out this screen share. Let's see if we can get this to work over here. Entire screen. We want this. We want this. Let's see how this looks. All right. Let's get rid of this. That's on captions. Get rid of this right here. All right. So this is our list. Oops. No, we don't want to do that. What we want to do is this. Let's make this a little bigger. So these are the people that we've interviewed or requested permission to interview for the head coach. Mike Vrabel, looks like he's going to New England. Ron Rivera, Rex Ryan, right here. Then we got Aaron Glenn. We completed an interview with Aaron Glenn. He's one of the leading candidates. They announced that they completed the interview at 7:45 p.m., which was very late, the latest, which means I think that his interview went long, which I think is good, but we don't know. Slowick, Brady, Joseph, Smith, Ulbrich, Nagy. Did we do Nagy already? We might have done Nagy, so I got to update this. Greasy, Flores, McCown, Rizzi, complete. Spagnuolo, old coach Spagnuolo, complete. Mike Loxley from the University of Maryland, who I do like a lot. Now, does Loxley have ties to Aaron Glenn? Is a question. Does Loxley have ties to Aaron Glenn? Because Loxley was a surprise candidate, and we learned about it that he had an interview on the 10th, which is obviously the day after the 9th. So in their long interview with Aaron Glenn, did they say, hey, is there somebody you're thinking about, a few people? What about your staff? And maybe one of the guys he mentioned, maybe, was Mike Loxley. So the Jets said, oh, okay, well, we could interview him for the head coach position, but just kind of use it as a way to get to know Mike Loxley, because he's perhaps somebody that the Jets aren't that familiar with, never had any contact with. You know, he's been a career college guy, but he has been with Nick Saban in Alabama for 3 years. So my theory is that Aaron Glenn put the Jets onto Mike Loxley, and we used this interview to get to know Mike Loxley as a potential maybe offensive coordinator to Aaron Glenn, if that's the way this went, which would be okay by me. That would be okay by me. But we'll have to see. But that's an unusual one. That's my theory. I don't know. It's my working theory. There's been no reporting on that. That's just me speculating. There's been no reporting on that whatsoever. Loxley does not have a winning record. That's correct, Harlan. He was at the University of New Mexico. You try and win at New Mexico, Harlan. And then he went over to Maryland. He does not have a good record. That's true. Very, very true. But I like him as an OC. And I also like him. I started watching interviews with him, and I just like him as a coach. I want him on our staff, period. Not head coach, probably not ready for that, but OC, I could deal with that. But that's my theory. That's not now reporting has been done on Mike Loxley, but we interviewed him, so you got to figure he's, what's going on with that? There's got to be something going on. So we'll see. Now, general manager, Reddick, Nagy, Jim Nagy, no relation to the other Nagy. John Robinson, Thomas Dimitroff, who's gotten a couple of looks. Borgonzi, Hallaby, Farmer, Grigson, Greenberg, Brown, Sullivan, Gaines, Spielman, Moogie, Newmark. Now you notice a lot of these, there's way more of these completed down here. So what I think is we are probably, unless it was going to be Vrabel, which it's looking like it's not going to be, we're probably going to hire the GM first and then let the GM be involved in the head coach decision, they'll be probably in on the second interviews with the second interview candidates, you would think. And especially because we seem to be moving faster with these guys. Borgonzi is probably the number one guy on the list. Now, does he want to be here? Does he like our situation? I don't know, but he would be a home run hire. I also like everyone else on the list except for Ryan Grigson. I fear that we're going to hire Grigson. All these other guys, and I guess Spielman would be the other weird one. Now, Chris Spielman is on here because he is an executive with the Lions, but he doesn't have a tremendous amount of executive experience. He was a great player, of course, for Ohio State and Detroit in the NFL. But he only then he went into broadcasting and only recently got into the front office of the Lions the last 3 or 4 years or so. And he's the brother of Rick Spielman, who's helping us. He's the guy with the 33rd team. So he's the brother of Rick Spielman. So that's the one I'm like, okay, we could talk to him, but let's not hire him. He's probably not qualified. Let's be honest. Not yet. I mean, eventually maybe, but so that's the other weird one. Now, and so that would be the only other one I would not want to go with. And then Grigson, I definitely don't want to go with. Everyone else on this list is well liked and well respected as far as we know, and brings different things to the table. Dimitrov, for example, has great GM experience and has been working for Sumer Sports for the last 3-4 years. Sumer Sports is an analytics firm, so he's got the scouting background and the GM background, but now he's adding the analytics in. So that's interesting. Hallaby's more of an analytics guy. Farmer and Greenberg is more of the cap guy, capologist type. So there's different ways to go. Alan Dodes is here. He says, good morning. Good morning, Alan Dodes. Good to see you, buddy. Hallaby would be another JD. No, I don't think so, Harlan. So Hallaby is from the Eagles, so that's where it's the same. But Hallaby is a analytics guy. Joe Douglas is a scouting guy. So Joe Douglas rose up through the scouting ranks. Hallaby is the analytics guy. So JoJo says he gets a lot of credit for the Detroit rebuild. I disagree 100%. JoJo, he gets no credit, my opinion. I mean, he gets some credit, right? He helped them hire, Doug Campbell and Brad Holmes. That's how his agent pitched it to the media, and that's how it got into your head, JoJo. So that's how it works. Here's how it works, right? So people understand how life works. Agent has an agenda, spills it to the media. I think we need to spell this out maybe 1,000 times. Then the media puts it out, and then it goes into XYZ's head. And you think you have an opinion, but it really came from this guy. Right? That's how the flow of information happens. The tweet was that Chris Spielman single-handedly was responsible. Single-handedly, they said. Single-handedly responsible for the Lions' turnaround. That's total bullshit. Now, did he play a part? Yeah, he was there. I mean, he helped Sheila Hamp out. Sure. But I would say Brad Holmes is more responsible. I would say Dan Campbell's more responsible. And I would say Jared Goff is way more responsible than any of those people. And also the players. They also picked really good players like Brian Branch and, Penei Sewell. Boy, Penei Sewell is my favorite player, I think, in the whole league. Anyway, those players are much more responsible than Chris Spielman. Now, did Chris Spielman have something to do with it? Yeah, he had something to do with it. But he was not single-handedly responsible as the tweet went out. No way. So I'm not buying that one, JoJo. I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Not me. Nope. No way. So let's see what we got here. So Turbo Duran says, good morning, Frankie. Good morning to you, Turbo. How come you had it on subscribe mode yesterday? Why not? Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. We need more subscribers, Turbo. That's why. Brown and Newmark don't think would be it either. Brown and Newmark are interesting dudes. So Trey Brown, these are all respected guys. So if it was Trey Brown, and if it was Lance Newmark, these guys have good experience. They'd be fine. Moogie, same thing. I also kind of don't want John Eric Sullivan with the Packers. Not anything to do with him, But the Packers, of course, are the one team without an owner. And so one of our problems, one of our many problems, is the owner. So how's John Eric Sullivan going to bring his experience to the table when he's only been with the Packers and they have no owner? No owner. Of course, I'm an owner. 500,000 of my friends are owners. The fans are the owners of the Packers. And so this is a guy who has experience with a team that doesn't have a meddlesome owner because they don't have an owner. And so I don't think he's qualified for our situation, whereas he would be, maybe he could, be qualified for somewhere else that they have a good owner that's not meddlesome. But we have one of the worst owners, as we all know. I would say Woody's a bottom five owner. Is Woody a bottom five owner? Do you guys think Woody Johnson, bottom five? I think Woody's a bottom five owner. There's a lot of bad owners. David Tepper, oops, Mike Bidwell. Okay. I think Jerry Jones is a bad owner. But you could agree that one. They won a lot of games the last period of time here. But I think Woody's a bottom five owner. I don't think he's the worst, but he's probably bottom five. I mean, it's bad. So these are the lists that we know. Now we may be interviewing some people that haven't been reported out there. It's possible. But out of this list, if we had to choose this list just without connecting anything. So one of the things they're talking about now is there's a report out about Grigson, which makes me nervous, that ties him. So we would get Grigson as the GM. We would get Brian Flores as the HC, and we would get Josh McCown as the OC. So there's a report that this could be a pairing here. This wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Flores is a highly qualified candidate for the head coach with experience, although it is defense. And then you're bringing in Josh McCown to run the offense. And he's well regarded and thought of as an up and comer. So it wouldn't be the worst, but I wouldn't want Ryan Grigson. I really would not. Now, Ryan Grigson, for those who don't know, his main bit of experience on his resume has to do with his time with the Indianapolis Colts when he did draft Andrew Luck. But of course, anybody would have drafted Andrew Luck. But what he did after drafting Andrew Luck is not protect him with the offensive line building. So did a bad job there. And also was not good at drafting just in general in terms of guys getting second contracts. He did not, there were only, I think in his entire tenure, there were only two guys who got a second contract with the team. So that's terrible. And this is the guy that's coming out. Now, there's a report and it's basically coming from Connor Hughes, that he's hearing this could be the grouping, Grigson, Flores, McCown. So I would like Flores and McCown without the Grigson. But if you had to take Grigson to get this threesome, I guess I wouldn't be excited about it. But McCown is an up-and-comer, so you think, okay, maybe he can straighten out the offense, and then you hope that Flores can straighten out the defense. And Grigson, but then you have Grigson. I mean, what assurance would we have that he's going to make good draft picks? I mean, he has a terrible track record with the draft. And so why this guy is considered, I mean, why are we even talking to him? I don't understand why he's on the list. What has he done that would lead you to believe he's going to be able to find talent in the draft? He killed, Alan Doe says he killed Andrew Luck. Yeah, basically something like 2 out of the 4 or 5 years that Luck was in the league, he led the league in sacks. So he was taking a beating. And he was like, I don't forget this. I'm going to do something else with my life. I don't need to get CTE for the rest of my life. And so, and other than that, and also he basically had 2 guys and only one with a significant second contract his entire time there, which tells you that he didn't draft well. He didn't draft players that you want to give second contracts to. The only guy was the center, Kelly, I think his name is. And then there was another guy who got a minor contract. That's not a good track record. Why is he even here? Why is he even on this list? But he is. That's the rule. That's the report. Just something that Connor Hughes is hearing. So But this is the list of dudes that's going on. And one of the things they're going to have to figure out is what to do with the three amigos. So the three amigos, as I call them, are Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, and Alan Lazard. I think those three are a package deal. And so, um, that's going to have to be the first decision that we make. Now, there's also a new Dick Chimney article out here on ESPN that talks about what's going on with the Jets. So let's bring this up and see what old Dick Chimney's talking about. Uh, so Woody Johnson has 25 years as the owner of the Jets. That's not good. And somebody said Woody can't make a good decision. How's this looking over here? Okay, this looks pretty good. Woody can't make a good decision, one prominent coaching agent said this week. Now, who do you think this prominent coaching agent is? Of course, it's Neil Cornrich. Who's Neil Cornrich? Well, he's the agent for one Mike Vrabel. So I think Vrabel knows and Cornrich knows that Vrabel's going to New England. So why not hit Woody with an anonymous quote? He can't make a good decision. I mean, it's not untrue, but I'm not saying it's false. Just the saying is like, Jesus Christ. Joe, Mike is here. Says, Frankie, why haven't the Jets interviewed Todd Monken for head coach? We talked about this last night, Joe. Were you here for the live stream, Joe? I had a whole diatribe about it, Joe. Joe, you got to watch all of the live streams, every single one, and record them and transcribe them and then read them and then put them in leather bound books and then keep them in a private library and then review them again. Just kidding. We talked we talked about this last night, Joe. I couldn't understand it. Monken's not on the list. Now, there is a reason, Joe. There's a reason. So I heard Joe Caporoso and Connor Rogers talking about there's a reason, and they said they've gone over it a lot. And so I don't watch all of their content. So maybe I think there's some, like, I think we reviewed him, we interviewed him in the past, and maybe he doesn't like Woody or he doesn't like our organization or something. There is a reason why Monken is sort of like an automatic no for us. He's an automatic no for us for some reason. So I don't know, go ask Joe Caporoso or Connor Rogers or one of those dudes, the Badlands guys. They know the reason. They've been following the Jets like intensely and closely for a long time, and there's a specific reason. But from what I heard, what the content I got from them, they didn't say the reason. They said they're tired of talking about it, sort of thing. So I was like, well, I haven't heard you talking about it. So, but anyway, there's some reason. But yes, in a vacuum, without knowing what these reasons are, Monken should absolutely be considered and would be a considered top at the top of the list. No doubt about it. But there's some reason he's not coming. So we talked about how, you look at it's interesting because Greg Roman went over to the Chargers and now Monken replaced him in Baltimore. And when Greg Roman was with Baltimore as the OC, Lamar had really good seasons and won the MVP. So it's not like he was bad. But with Monken now, look at what Lamar did this year. I mean, it's got to reflect well on Monken that he had an incredible season. 4,100 passing yards, 41 passing touchdowns, plus 915 yards rushing. I mean, this guy's amazing. And just had an incredible season. And all of the quote unquote problems he had in the past, which are, turnovers, too many interceptions, et cetera. 41 touchdowns, 5 picks or 4 picks, something like that. I mean, that's incredible. So yeah, Monken gets the credit for that. And he should be somebody's head coach. I mean, but apparently it's not going to be us. So that's why, Joe. And maybe it's because, look, I'm bringing up this quote here, and maybe this quote is indicative of what a lot of prominent coaching agents. So all the coaches have agents. The world is run by agents. I didn't mention this before when I was talking about the media. It goes agent, media, public, and the public gets their information from the media and then immediately thinks it's their own opinion. But the agents run the world, essentially, right? Whether it's a player agent, coaching agent, all the coaches have agents. Neil Cornrich is the agent for Vrabel. So this is probably the guy who is quoting it. Woody can't make a good decision, one prominent coaching agent said this week. Prom doesn't tell us how he's prominent, but prominent, would mean that he has good clients. Neil Cornrich, among others, has Mike Vrabel. That's the most prominent coach available this cycle. So maybe Munkin went in there, had an interview when we hired Gase and so forth and so on. And maybe there's some of these people that they're just not going to take an interview with us. Infrared is here. Good morning. Do we have to wait to give? No. He probably doesn't want to be here, Infrared. We looked at the list. He's not on it. Now, so Infrared, if you're late, shame on you. You got to be early. We already talked about this, Infrared. Come on now. Here's the list. So we completed a bunch of these, and some of these we're waiting, but you can see the general managers. This is the list, at least the ones we've gotten. Now, there could be others that are not being reported, for example. But you can see we've completed all but two of these people who are on our list, and this is a pretty long list. We're just waiting for John Eric Sullivan and Brian Gain of the Bills. This is the list. And you notice John Dorsey's not on it. You notice who else is not on it, Infrared? Ray Agnew. Yeah. So Vrabel just hired by Pats. All right. So is that breaking news, Moan? Let's see. Wait a minute. We knew this was going to happen. I said this last night. Let's stop the screen share. Let's pull this up. Is it breaking news, Milan? Let's see. Mike Vrabel, yeah, done deal. Patriots have officially struck a deal with Mike Vrabel, make him the head coach of the franchise. Yep. So those who were paying attention knew this was the case as soon as the news broke when Mayo got fired. If you were watching the live stream with me and Green Bean and Jeremy, we told you. As soon as Mayo got fired, this deal has already been agreed to. Breaking news, done deal. Jordan Schultz. 2 minutes ago, the Patriots have officially struck a deal with Mike Vrabel to make him the new head coach of the franchise, sources confirmed to NFL on Fox. Talks intensified on Saturday, and the deal was reached this morning. A new era in New England is here. So there you go. Exactly as I and Green Bean and Jeremy told you when Mayo was fired. If Mayo gets fired, they already have a deal in place with Vrabel. That's exactly how it played out. They did sham interviews with two African-American coaches in the same day, two guys that nobody was talking about, Pep Hamilton and Byron Leftwich. Just, okay, let's get these African-American coaches, get that sham out of the way. And they had them, brought them in. They interviewed them both on the same day. All right, check the box there. And boom, here's the Vrabel deal. As we told you, it was already agreed to. There was no chance for the Jets. If that position came open, there was no chance that Vrabel was going to go to the Jets. Now, if Mayo had stayed on and if Antonio Pierce had stayed on and did not get fired, then the Jets would have had a chance to get Mike Vrabel. But as soon as Mayo was fired, this deal was already agreed to by Neil Cornrich. It was already done. Told you that then. That's exactly how it played out. So those people who watch, you learn. Mike Vrabel, everything Vrabel done. All right, so Vrabel. Everything on this is Diana Dushini is reporting, despite consistent and late pushes from the Bears and Jets, New England is the team that lands him. So we tried our best. So that makes me feel good. Diana Dushini is reporting, despite consistent and late pushes from the Bears and Jets, New England is the team that lands him. That tells me at least we tried. At least we tried. Yeah. At least we tried. So there you go. Yeah, and of course, Turbo, he's going to bring Josh McDaniels. It's obvious, everybody knows this. Homecoming, so yeah. Mike Garofalo reports, everybody put on your shocked faces. Yeah, we all knew this. As soon as Mayo got fired, this deal was already in place. In fact, they would not have fired Mayo if the deal had not been in place. They already had a deal. And that's why Mayo got fired. All right, so we lost out on Vrabel. That was expected. We made a push. We tried. Give Woody and the Jets, credit. They tried to get him. Dushini's reporting we made consistent and persistent. What did she say? Consistent effort to get him, and he just didn't want it. This was a better opportunity for him. Let me go back to what Dushini said. Despite consistent and late pushes from the Bears and Jets, which means we're trying to get him. I can't blame him, Woody. Well, Jojo, what do you want? What do you want Woody to do? What do you want Woody to do? Vrabel didn't want to come here. He's probably had number one on his list, New England, number two, Las Vegas, number three, the Jets, and the New England job came open. He's a New England Patriot legend. What do you want what do you want Woody to do? Dushini's reporting that we had consistent and late pushes to try and get him. I can't blame the guy. Woody. We couldn't get him. We tried. We did everything we could possibly do. But as soon as the New England job came open, it was game over. Teddy Bruschi absolutely on fire right now on the Patriots. What does that mean? I guess he's probably celebrating the hire, I guess. Of course it's a great hire. He's the number one coach in the cycle. So the first of 6 NFL openings filled. So there you go. As we said, as we knew all along, this deal was already in place, and nothing was able to change the mind of Vrabel. We tried. The Jets tried. Investigate, take away draft. I mean, for what? They did. They followed the rules, Alan, as they are. They followed them. We're not the offseason champs this year. No, but maybe that's a good thing. I mean, but it seems to me we did everything we could to land Vrabel. We did everything right in terms of the pursuit of him, and he just didn't want to come here. And I think it's because he wanted the New England job. As soon as the New England job was open, boom, there he goes. Woody's reputation is bad throughout the league. Yeah. So we were just talking about that. Yeah. Here's the quote again, as we were talking about. Here's the quote. Woody can't make a good decision. You guys can see that, right? Woody can't, says one prominent coaching agent right here. This is the coaching agent. So this is Neil Cornrich. This is Vrabel's agent, and he puts in a shot against the Jets. Woody can't make a good decision. So these coaching agents, if you have somebody like a Vrabel in his situation, yeah, you might go to the Jets, but not if there's other spots that you prefer. And New England was probably number one on his list. They have the young quarterback in place already. He has a relationship with ownership. He'll have prominent say what happens with the GM, and watch. I bet you Elliott Wolf gets fired. You watch, the next step is going to be Elliott Wolf. No, he's not going to get fired. He's going to be moved into a new position within the organization. He'll be the director of player personnel, something like that. They're going to move him off of the GM spot, and then Vrabel will get to hire whoever he wants as the GM. And Elliott Wolf will continue on, but in a lesser role. So that's news to come. That's what's going to happen next. And so, this is something we're just going to have to, deal with as fans, because Woody's not going anywhere, and he's going to affect everything that happens downstream from the owner position. All right, so let's continue looking at, and if you look at his record, here's what the Johnsons have done since Woody took over. Record 173 and 231. No bueno. Tied for 26th. Playoff seasons 6 out of 25. Winning seasons 9. Losing seasons 14. 7 head coaches, 6 general managers. Not exactly a stability organization. Gang, not so green. The overriding theme in the coaching search is the number of candidates with previous head coaching experience. So we're trying to get some head coaching experience in here. Vrabel, gone. Ron Rivera, Rex Ryan, Matt Nagy, Flores, Spagnuolo, Vance Joseph, Arthur Smith. Although Arthur Smith probably didn't exactly put on a great show last night in the game. Then you got the interims, Jeff Ulbrich and Darren Rizzi. Ulbrich has no interviews with anyone as far as we can tell so far. Stark contrast. Apparently in 2009, I don't know how many of you guys remember this. That year, Ryan and Spagnuolo were among the Jets' top candidates. The job went to Ryan, although Spagnuolo had a fan in Woody Johnson. According to one person, familiar with the search. Here we are 16 years later with Johnson running another search. So, could Spagnuolo be a dark horse candidate? I don't think the fan base would be too excited about old Spags. He did not have success in his first time around with head coaching duties. Gojo says Flores, Glenn, Brady. We can't do that. Joe Brady is the offensive coordinator of the Bills, so he'd have to get a promotion to come here. Can't take the same position. Oh, really? Some folks familiar with the coaching market believe the Jets want to hire a coach with an offensive background. Among their known candidates, the only ones who fit that description are Nagy and Smith. So we want offense, but we're not interviewing too many offensive guys who have experience. And then you got Nagy and Smith. And I don't think Nagy and Smith are exciting the fans too much. You guys tell me if you feel different. You want Arthur Smith or Matt Nagy? I don't think anybody in this chat room is going to be too excited about either of those guys. Tell me if I'm different. Tell me if you feel different. At the same time, there are some who say Lions defense coordinator Aaron Glenn, who interviewed virtually with the Jets on Thursday, is the best fit. At this point, I'm probably rooting the hardest for Glenn, I would say. Just because he's a quality guy. He's got ties. I don't want to go below the Glenn Flores tier. Regarded as an excellent leader, very good tactician. Okay, I like it. Ties to the franchise, of course. And then it just depends on who his OC would be. Sauce Gardner said, we need somebody that's a leader, somebody that doesn't lack confidence. Does this mean that Saleh lacks confidence? Did Saleh lack confidence? You can't come in here with this mindset like, let's just win a few games or let's win more games than last year, Gardner said. You have to come here with the mentality and mindset to win it all. Yeah. And how about you have a mindset to tackle somebody, Sauce? How about you have a mindset to keep your hands off people, Sauce? Go to the playoffs, go to Super Bowl. That's just what it's got to be. Everything that we do to lead up to that point has to be right. Yeah, like you learning how to tackle and you learning how to keep your hands off people. That'd be good. Sauce. Nagy has had some success as a head coach. Harlan says, okay, so maybe Harlan's a little more open to Nagy. He has had more success than people generally realize. Though it didn't end well, and that's what people remember Harlan with the Bears when he was over there. Brian Goldstein is here. He says, if not Glenn, then we'll default to Rex. Boy, let's hope not. Quick rebound, Saleh. So Saleh's getting some looks. So the interesting thing about Saleh is he's getting some looks as the HC, the Jaguars, and the Raiders. So he got 2 interviews for head coach this cycle. There's only 6 openings, and Saleh got 2 of them, 2 out of 6. So compare that to Ulbrich. Ulbrich's gotten 0 out of 6. So we fired this one, who, as soon as he's out of the mix, as soon as the offseason starts, he goes 2 for 6. Not bad. Ulbrich, 0 for 6. Not good. Especially because Saleh will certainly become the defensive coordinator for the 49ers if not the head coach of these 2 teams here, which he probably won't, but at least he got interviews, which tells you he's well thought of, more well thought of than Ulbrich, which tells you we should never have fired Saleh 5 games in. That's stupid. Package deal. So this is the other thing I've been saying. It seems like Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and also Lazard are a package deal. I call them the 3 amigos. So if you want to get rid of Rodgers, okay, that's fine. But then you're probably going to get rid of Devontae and Lazard. Not that that matters, but then you have to replace them on the roster. So I think that decision is a three amigos decision. And then you have Lazard, as I was saying. Lazard said, the reason why I came here was to ultimately retire a Jet. Lazard said, anybody want Alan Lazard to retire a Jet? Anybody? 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 Anybody want Lazard to retire a Jet? I want it to be part of something historical here. Well, it's historically bad. And be part of the change and break the playoff drought. So he said the right things. So I give him some credit for that. But I don't think too many Jet fans are concerned about Alan Lazard retiring a Jet. Barney Miller is here. Saleh did lack confidence. I like Saleh and thought his firing was terrible, but on Hard Knocks, you heard the lack of confidence in the preseason game. Rodgers mentioned the negativity. Yeah, so maybe Saleh was just kind of like almost. I think he was better than the most. He was better than Gase for sure, but better than most, but maybe not quite good enough for us, Barney. Goldstein says Saleh fired so earlier in the season, it feels like he had a year off him. But yeah, right. Dodes, would Hackett? No, Hackett's going to be fired, Alan. Hackett is not part of the Three Amigos. He's going to be part of the get out of here quickly. Get the hell out of here. So I think Hackett's gone for sure. I mean, he got demoted. That's not good when you get a demotion in season. So he's going to be out of here. Probably the rest of the coaching staff is all out of here, almost certainly. But you could see maybe a Todd Downing staying, but I doubt it. There may be a select few who stay, but probably not. They're probably all gone. Lazard needs to use Stickum. Yeah, Gase had too much confidence. Well, Gase had cocaine confidence. That's different. Lazard had a good last game. Yeah. But if you get rid of the Three Amigos, including Lazard, then you got to replace them. And Lazard could at least block. He's at least, he had a lot of drops this year, though. Did have 6 touchdowns. Did have a decent number of yards. Did they say how much? No. Cap charge is 13.2 million. So all these three guys probably need to restructure their deals if they want to stay. But then we have to make a decision on CJ Mosley. I would love for CJ to come back, but he's got a neck injury. He's 33 years old. $12.3 million cap charge with only 4 guaranteed, so we could save $8 million by cutting him. So again, Mosley would be a guy, if the coach wants to keep him, then we got to restructure him and figure him out. I don't think we want to take a $12 million cap charge for CJ Mosley for whatever the role is going to be for him to play. Jojo says Dimitrov and Darren Glenn. Yeah, that'd be all right by me. So that's what's going on with Cimini. This is the latest that he's writing about right now. All right. So next news item, you might say, well, if we get rid of the Three Amigos, all we got is Garrett Wilson and a bunch of nothing. So that means we got to sign some free agents, right? Well, here's the free agents that are going to be on the market for a wide receiver. And it's not really a great list if you look at it. Stephon Diggs, you want Stephon Diggs here? T. Higgins, everybody's going to want Higgins, so we're not going to get him. Probably he stays in Cincinnati. Burrow wants him back, of course, but he's going to make a boatload of money somewhere. Keenan Allen, old man Keenan Allen, you want him. Amari Cooper, getting up in age, that could be someone, but he's probably going to cost a pretty penny, and he's getting up there in age. Beyond that, who else do you really want? Chris Godwin is injured. Brandon Cooks, 32 years old. Deontay Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, 33 years old. You want Mike Williams back. And then it gets pretty thin. You want eight thumbs Aguilar back here or over here. I mean, Mac Hollins. Probably the best guy to get would probably be this guy. It'd be funny if we signed these two. Let's bring the band back together. Let's get Elijah Moore and Braxton Berrios. I mean, they're not going to break the bank, these two. I mean, how much money is Elijah Moore really going to make? Now, he's young, so somebody is going to give him a decent contract, but Berrios Probably get Berrios for $2 million. It's not a bad deal. Play special teams. Trent Sherfield. You want Trent Sherfield? You want Jamison Crowder back here, 32 years old? Carterell Hodge, Van Jefferson. I mean, you want to sign De'Ami Brown? Josh Palmer? It's not a lot of talent here. Want Mecole Hardman back here? Greg Dortch? So it's not really a very strong free agent market here. I could see us maybe playing in the Josh Palmer, De'Ami Brown waters, perhaps. Kind of like Zacchaeus, depth piece. Maybe a Justin Watson if the Chiefs are stupid enough to let him go, which they probably won't. He's like a good role player. Yeah, why not sign Berrios and Moore? I mean, Elijah Moore had some. I mean, it'll be a new coaching staff. The one Mike LaFleur's gone. Elijah, you can come back now. There won't be Mike LaFleur around here for you to get angry about. But I mean, how much money is Elijah Moore going to make? Braxton Berrios is going to be 30 years old already. He's going to get a minimum contract. So these are cheap options that maybe you could use in a role. That's basically what we're looking for here, I think. Because you're not going to be able to play at the top of the market. I mean, this is the top of the market right here. Diggs, Higgins, Allen, Cooper, Godwin, Cooks. That's the top of the market right there. I mean, I guess we could go after Brandon Cooks. He's an underrated guy. Godwin's hurt a lot. Cooper. Elijah Moore isn't coming back. I mean, maybe he is. It would be a different coaching staff. He was mad at Mike LaFleur. He's not here no more. I mean, have you heard any news out of Elijah Moore with the Browns? I haven't heard of him doing anything silly with the Browns. So maybe he has matured. I haven't seen any news reports of Elijah Moore doing any diva stuff with the Browns. Corley replaces Gibson. We don't know what the hell Corley's going to be. We don't know what's going on with Corley. He could be a total bust. Tay said on Kay Adams he's open to staying without Rodgers. Yeah. Could be, but he says a lot of stuff. So I'm sure he is open to it if we give him $10 gazillion. But if we give him $1 billion, I'm sure he'll stay. But if we give him $38 million or whatever is on his contract, I'm sure he would stay for $38 million. But I don't think we're going to want to keep him for the price he's going to want. And then if that's the case, his whole life he's been trying to get with good quarterbacks. So if we have Tyrod and Justin Fields and Jordan Travis, is that a situation he's going to want to be in? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, if we sign Derek Carr, then, maybe. You want to sign Derek Carr to try and lure Tay back? Maybe. So let's move on to the next item. So let's talk about something that maybe some of you don't know. Did you know that the Buffalo Bills are getting a new stadium? And that it's designed with the world's largest heated roof. Did you know that? To withstand Buffalo's snowfall. Did you know that? So this new stadium, so not only do the Bills have Josh Allen, not only are they probably Super Bowl bound this year, or if not next year, sometime in the future, they're also getting a brand new stadium, and it's going to open in 2026. And it's going to have the largest heated roof. All right. So what is this all about? The canopy roof was designed with an innovative snow melt system that will keep the roof from collapsing under the snow's weight. They got a snow melt system in Buffalo coming. Do we got that? Nope. We got nothing like that. The Buffalo Bills' new stadium in Orchard Park, New York is about half constructed. with an expected opening in time for the 2026 NFL season. The new stadium is being built adjacent to the existing one. No dome. So the one thing that fans have said, you got to build a dome there, they said nope. There was initial consideration to building the new stadium in downtown Buffalo and with a dome and retractable roof, but both ideas were set aside after extensive cost evaluation would have made such a location and roof unfeasible for the local Buffalo community. All right, so it's going to cost about $2 billion. Is the Bills' canopy roof ready for Buffalo winters? One of the reasons cited for avoiding a dome was the ability to manage Buffalo's massive annual snowfall averaging 92 inches a year due to the traditional lake effect snow belts with cold winds from the west, blah, blah, blah. Instead, Populous, which is the designer, designed it with a 360-degree canopy roof that covers over 60% of the stadium seating to limit the impact of wind and other factors on fans in their seats. So you sit there and you're not freezing your tuchus off. What about that? Why do we got to have Jet Life, this ridiculous stadium where everybody's freezing their tuchus off? Oh, this is an enjoyable situation. I'm sitting here and freezing. It's raining. It's snowing. I'm miserable. I'm supposed to watch this freaking team who can't even snap the ball properly to the quarterback. Give me a break. This is called a unifying element. The canopy follows the form of the bowl and exterior facade, dripping down towards the end zones and rising toward the center. But how will the canopy hold up to Buffalo winters and lake effect snowfall? Well, the canopy roof was designed with an innovative snow melt system that will keep the roof from collapsing, which is good. You don't want a collapsing roof. That's bad. Joe Byrne, the stadium construction operation manager, describes it as the world's largest snow melt system. The sensors in the roof monitor the weather, and the V-shaped canopy structure allows the heated canopies to safely melt away any dangerous snow level. So they're just going to melt it away safely. That sounds beautiful. Frank Carvata, the senior vice declared that even if the snowfall is a 7-footer, yes, it will absolutely melt it. A 7-footer. So the canopy only covers the right. They don't want it over the stadium, Barney. They want when it snows on the field, they want the snow on the field. You see, they think that's a plus for them when they got Josh Allen back there. So this is going to. So even if they had a 7-foot snowfall, imagine 7 feet of snow. It will absolutely melt 7 feet of snow off of this canopy roof thing that keeps the fans warm and heated. New facts: capacity of 62,000. Features will be enclosed on all sides, and then the canopy covers 65% of the seats. So you better not be 35% who's not covered. Then you're screwed. But otherwise. And here's the coup de grace. In March 2025, the new stadium is expected to be ready for the integration of a new grass playing field. So they're going with grass, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, they told me we can't have it in New Jersey because of the weather. Can't have grass there. No way. Impossible. No way. It's impossible. You cannot have grass in New Jersey, the Garden State. No way. Well, they're having it in Buffalo, ladies and gentlemen. And it'll be ready to go by 2026. That natural grass field will also be heated. The natural grass field will also be heated so that it's not a frozen tundra. They're heating the field because they're smart and not stupid like us, ladies and gentlemen. So not only are they going to get a brand new stadium, they're going to get 30 to 40% fewer injuries than an average team. They're getting a brand new stadium with all of these amenities that are going to be incredible for the fans. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Now tell me why we can't do it. I mean, isn't this embarrassing for us? Isn't this embarrassing for the Jets and the Giants, both of us? Look at what the Bills are doing, and we're playing in this piece of crap. What is going on? Why can't we do that? Why is nobody talking about this? One of the reasons we need to be talking about this is to shame the freaking Jets and Giants, by the way, into doing something like this. We should do this. What is stopping us? What, we don't have the money? Are you crazy? Of course we have the money. This is going to be incredible. Look at this thing. Natural grass, heated, canopy covers 65% of the fans. Okay, 35%, you're in trouble. Okay. But 65% of the fans are going to be covered. They got a snow melt system. The snow's going to come right onto the field, but not bother 65% of the fans. It's going to be incredible. And we got nothing. We have nothing. What do we have? We have a piece of garbage that we expect people to trot 6 to 8 hours out to the friggin' stadium and then 10 hours back in the traffic or the train or whatever. The hell is going on? Why can't we have this? Why? Somebody please tell me. You can have it all. You can have natural grass. You can have heat underneath the natural grass. You can have a system. You can have this. You can have that. You can keep the fans safe and warm and beautiful while still having the natural weather elements of a football game in January. You can have everything. And the Buffalo Bills are the ones, ladies and gentlemen, who are getting it. We're not. We're getting nothing. You know what we get? Nothing. We get absolutely nothing. That's what we get. We get a big smack in the mouth and saying, hey, the team sucks, but we're raising your ticket prices, going up, season ticket holders. Sorry. You want to be a PSL holder? Going up. What? You won 5 games. That price is going up. We're not going to, you're doing it. Okay. Are you going to do any improvements to the stadium? Nope. We're not going to improve the stadium one bit, but you're going to have to pay more. Sorry. So the team stinks. The stadium is not getting improved at all. And, maybe we'll change the flavor of the ice creams that you can get. That's it. Yeah. We're going to add strawberry flavor ice cream now. Oh, but the price of your PSL is going up 30%. Okay, but we can't possibly have a stadium with grass because, of course, we play in New Jersey, and also there's got to be concerts and soccer and these things. And guess what? This stadium is going to have all those things, just like they do in Green Bay and just like they do in Kansas City. It's going to be grass. It's going to be heated. You're going to have concerts. You're going to have soccer. You're going to have everything. But we can't do it because they're going to have 30% fewer injuries than the other teams, that don't have this. I mean, and you think free agents are going to want to come play here at a modern stadium, with grass that's heated, properly and with snow melt systems and this and that? Yeah, free agents are going to want to go there. And you think people want to play on the frozen tundra, the frozen concrete of Jet Life Stadium? No, they don't. They'd like to have a long career. Thank you very much. Absolutely annoying. Well, Phil Adams is here, but late. Phil, people were asking for you, buddy. Ohio Jet fan says Jets can opt out of the lease every 5 years. Yeah. So what? Ohio? I mean, but we're not. Before we do any of that, we would have to come up with a plan for a new place, which is what I'm going over here. Yeah, we can do all that nonsense, but we have to figure out a plan to do so. And it doesn't seem like Woody has any plan to do anything except screw over the fans left, right, and center. Grass field idea was nixed by the Giants. I don't think so. Nobody talked about the grass field idea on any serious level except me. Not that I'm a serious level, but no, it was never brought up. It was never considered. As far as the reporting goes, we never got any report that I saw that we were ever considering. Jets should move to LA. Yeah. We're homeless like most of them. With this ownership, who knows what Woody's going to do? We have coaching agents saying Woody can't make a good decision. We looked at the quote. Woody Johnson is incapable of making a good decision, the man said. He's a prominent coaching agent saying this. So there you go. Salman, we need a top-notch head coach. Not mistakes. Pat Scott Vrabel. Yeah, I know. We talked about it already. So, yeah, we can't even get the stadium right. I mean, I don't understand how the Jets and Giant ownership is not looking at this and just are embarrassed at what they put out and look at what the Buffalo Bills are able to do. You know, if they want to go in together, etc. But they, of course, shouldn't go together. They should. The Jets should have their own stadium, but that's a whole other story. I don't understand why Woody Johnson just doesn't say, you know what, I'm going to put together a plan. I'm going to think big. I'm going to put the team back in Queens or on Long Island or somewhere. You know, there's plenty of land out there. The Buffalo Bills can get it done. Why the hell can't the Jets? Oh, because we're stupid. That's why. All right. So let's check in here. See the latest rumors. Patriots to hire Mike Vrabel. Yep, we got that. Jaden Daniels' presence could dissuade Commanders OC. See, this is what I told you. This is exactly what I told you. Why would Cliff Kingsbury? So some people might be wondering, why isn't Cliff Kingsbury on our list or any list for anybody? And what I said was Cliff Kingsbury is getting his full salary from the Cardinals still. He's still getting paid by Michael Bidwell. He's getting his full salary from them, plus whatever he's making with the Commanders. I mean, this guy is well compensated. And he has a good situation in Washington. He's got a young quarterback that is a rookie sensation, phenom, they call him Jaden Daniels. And, you know, so why would he want to leave there? So that could be a name that maybe could go to the Bears, for example, has been rumored. But why is he going to do that? Why is he going to take a chance with Caleb Williams when he already has a sure thing with Jaden Daniels with the way he's played this year? Now you say, well, maybe he wants to be the head coach. All right. Well, he's still getting paid by the Cardinals. And does he really want to go through the head coaching headaches, or does he just want to coach the offense? You know, let me work with these young kids. I'm an offensive guy. Let me just work the offense. I don't want to worry about defense and special teams and administration and meeting with the media at least 4 times a week and all this nonsense that you have to do as a head coach. I just want to coach the offense. I just want to run some plays. I just want to talk to Jaden Daniels all day about plays we're going to run to kick some butt on Sunday. That's what I want to do. You know, when asked earlier this month if he was ready to field questions, he said it would take a lot to leave this kid, he said. Of course, the kid in question is Daniels, who is effusive in his praise for the OC. He's meant a lot, obviously, for my development and my growth from the day I stepped foot here to this point now, Daniels said. Just to be able to see and get to learn the type of person Cliff is on and off the field, it's only helped our relationship grow. So there you go. That could be something to watch. Now, the Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson reiterates desire to re-sign with team. So now something we have to keep in mind about the Steelers, there's a lot of things going on. Russell Wilson is a free agent. Justin Fields is a free agent. The Yinzers are very upset with Mike Tomlin. Would they consider firing Mike Tomlin or trading Mike Tomlin? We don't know. Could be. But 2 quarterback options that could be for us, Russell Wilson or well, that wouldn't be but or Justin Fields, especially if we get rid of the 3 amigos. So that's the latest right there. That's the latest news, ladies and gentlemen. That's the latest news from around the NFL. Venue Sports is no more, that joint venture. The other thing, Carson Beck, nearly $10 million in NIL deals So Carson Beck was originally going to come into the NFL in the draft. He's now going back to college, as I said he should. So if you thought Carson Beck was an option for us, nope, not this year. He's going back, going to make a lot of money. And it's the right call for his career. He has a UCL injury, Tommy John injury. So might as well go back to school, show you're healthy, put up a good year, and then come in next year, make some money. So Carson Beck is not on the draft boards. Let me just go over one more thing that I wanted to mention about the draft. Let's take a look at the top players in the draft, shall we? The NFL draft is coming up. We got to think about that. All right, let's look at the 2025 big board. The big board. Doobie-doo. Now, one of the things we want to do is think about buckets of players. So if you look at this list here, we're picking 7th. For some reason they have Abdul Carter 6th. Okay. But they got, so let's say now the first decision that we make has to be with the three amigos. So if we get rid of the three amigos, it's more of a full rebuild situation, and then we can pick whoever. It doesn't really matter. But if we keep the three amigos, then quarterback is done and wide receiver is done, and we can root for the teams above us to pick quarterbacks because then we wouldn't be worried about that in this draft too much. And we're picking 7th. So you figure Travis Hunter is going to be gone. Let's say quarterback needy team, Shador is going to be gone. Cameron Ward is going to be gone. So that's 3 picks. So then are we comfortable with the group of Graham, Tet, Will Johnson, Abdul Carter, Kelvin Banks? Because that's 8, right? 3 plus 5 is 8. So we're definitely going to get one of those 5 players, right? So the question is, are we comfortable with that? And in fact, you could even say, if you don't even have to include Kelvin Banks, well, we're definitely going to get one of Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, Mason Graham, or Tet McMillan. Now, maybe you take Tet McMillan off. We don't necessarily want him if we have Adams and Wilson and Lazard and all the rest. But this is the way we should be thinking. So once the decision is made about the three amigos, we'll know about our team. But then we just got to think, okay. And one of the reasons you might want to keep the three amigos is if you really love Graham, Johnson, Carter, you may, if you love those players, you may say, let's keep the three amigos in place. The offense is mostly done. And let's get one of these stud muffins on defense. Mason Graham, Will Johnson, the cornerback, and Abdul Carter. My favorite is right here, Abdul Carter. But favorites don't really matter. Buckets are what matters. And you might say, the way to construct our roster the best is to keep the three amigos, readjust all their contracts so that their cap hits are less. And let's build up the defense, and let's start with one of these stud muffins on defense. Graham, Johnson, Carter. And I would probably rank them Graham way up here on this. This is Draft Tech. I would probably rank them Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, and then Will Johnson. And I would say, I want to get one of these 3 guys. Because these are 3 studs. I mean, there's not a lot of studs in this draft. There's a lot of good players, of course. But these 3 here are generally considered to be stud muffins. Carter, Graham, Johnson. Johnson's got some iffiness about him because he was injured, but generally considered by scouts to be studs. And I like getting studs. And if you're going to keep it together, I mean, if you put Mason Graham next to Quinn Williams, how good is Quinn going to be? I mean, come on. Now, Abdul Carter is a chess piece. The reason I like Abdul Carter, he's a chess piece. He's basically Micah Parsons Jr. and you can put him anywhere, defensive end, linebacker. He can do it all. And he's already pretty advanced with his rush moves. And as we all know, we need more pass rush. You always need more pass rush, and you could use him as a spy, which I love the idea of also. So Infrared saying, Connor Hughes reportedly said on WF when Infrared, Rex Ryan is completely out, that it's never going to happen. When was this, Infrared? That would be good news. So hopefully that's the case because it means the Jets are thinking correctly. I like the trade down and draft Penn State 44, but number 7 is a lucky number pick there. Yeah, Tyler Warren's a good player for sure. Is he going to change your team though? I mean, he's a really good player. Don't get me wrong. But our defense is really bad, guys. I don't know if you guys really understand how bad it is, but it's bad. We need to restock the defensive line. We're losing DJ Reed. We got a lot of free agents that we're going to be losing, and they were bad to begin with. We need to restock the defense. And these 3 players right here are blue chippers. These 3 are blue chippers. Tyler Warren's also a blue chipper, I would say. But these 3 are blue chippers for the defense. And that's why I say if you bring back the 3 amigos, and you probably just signed Conklin back, right? Bring back the 3 amigos, bring back Conklin. Ruckert's going to be here. The offense is pretty much done. We need a right tackle. So, but maybe you sign Morgan Moses and then you draft a guy in round 2. But the defense is barren. The defense is totally barren. So Mason Graham helps you with run stuffing DT, although we don't do run stuffing DTs. I mean, we do, but it also depends what kind of defense we're running. I'm assuming we're going to run a 4-3. If we're running a 4-3, that's a 1-gap attacking defense. So the idea of the run stuffing DT is less, and you need kind of like really good linebackers to fill the gaps. But assuming now, if we run a 3-4, then Mason Graham's probably out. But so if Flores comes in and wants to run a 3-4, then Mason Graham's probably out. I mean, there's going to be guys that don't fit the roster. It's probably a roster overhaul. So out of the top guys, Flores is a 3-4 guy. Who else is a top guy? Aaron Glenn. But Glenn is a 4-3 guy. So if we get Aaron Glenn, we're going to probably run a 4-3. He's been a 4-3 guy. And that would fit our roster better. So another plus for Aaron Glenn is he's going to probably run a 4-3, and that fits our personnel to what degree. We have them here better. We don't have to overhaul everything. And so then Mason Graham comes into focus, and maybe we could get him. But the thing about it is you have to be comfortable with all 3 of these, or whoever you put in the bucket. You can't just say, I like Mason Graham. Okay, well, what if he's gone? You have to be comfortable enough with whoever you put in your bucket. So I would be comfortable with these 3 in the bucket myself, because I think we got to rebuild this defense. But that's the thing. The concept should be not, do you like this player or that player? How close? In other words, the reason to put these 3 in a bucket would be your grades on them are close. Let's say your grade on Carter's an 8. Your grade on Graham is an 8. Your grade on Johnson is 7.9. All right, they're in the bucket. But if your grade on Will Johnson is 6.4, he's not in the bucket, right? It's too much of a drop, so he goes out of the bucket, right? So it depends how you grade them, and you have to grade people. If they're similar and you have the same need, then they're in the bucket. So that's the way to think about prospects rather than I like this guy or that guy. You got to think about buckets. You got to think about buckets. All right, so I think that's the main news for today. We know our next head coach, 90% Woody will hire Aaron Glenn, 4-3 guy. Well, Salman, Aaron Glenn is going to have options. Aaron Glenn, remember, I think you're a little late, Salman. We said Aaron Glenn was 6 for 6. There are 6 openings in the NFL this year, and Aaron Glenn got interview requests for all 6 of them. 6 for 6. Tells you he's in demand. and I think he's done all his interviews or a lot of his interviews. So Glenn might prefer, for example, New Orleans, which is one of the teams, that he's connected with. So just checking the Twitterverse here. Yeah. All the Jet riders are just saying, Vrabel's there and makes sense. Da-da. So does not look like there's any other late breaking news. So now there's 5 openings, and Aaron Glenn, I think probably the biggest competition, at least it seems at this point in time, for us is the Saints for Aaron Glenn's services. So it just depends on what Aaron Glenn wants to do and how he views the opportunity with us. I'm pretty sure he's our top candidate, and probably Brian Flores is probably number 2, if I had to guess, without knowing what they're doing exactly. But there's got to be a two-way street. Infrared says, can we get a dominant interior defensive line in the second round and get that tight end from Penn State in the first round? No. I mean, if you're talking about dominant interior defensive lineman, there's only one, Mason Graham. Now, you could say Kenneth Grant, which is his running mate. He's more iffy. So, can you? Yes. But there's one guy who's pretty much rock solid that you know what you're getting. That's Mason Graham. Now, you could go for Kenneth Grant. You could go for somebody in the second, third round, who's less well known. But those guys are question marks. There's a reason they're going later. Could they be great? Sure. You find guys in the second and third round all the time, but a lot of times you don't. There's one guy that is rock solid. That's Mason Grant. So I like Tyler Warren, but I don't think our need is for tight end. With considering how bad our defense is, our defense is in terrible shape. That's what I'm saying. We need more blue chippers on defense. You can get by with an average tight end, for sure. But I think the defense just needs restocking of the blue chip players, as many as we can get. For me, that's how I see it. Especially now that's a big if the three amigos are here. If the three amigos are here, the offense is pretty much done. We just need a right tackle. We need to re-sign Conk probably, or somebody like that, Mo Alley Cox, something like that. But the offense is pretty well complete, and we need some depth, et cetera, et cetera. But the defense is completely barren, almost completely barren. The defensive line is in really bad shape. Heard people saying Dart was high on some boards. Yeah, Jackson Dart. I mean, that's another thing where if Rodgers and the three amigos are back, then Jackson Dart and McCord, all these people are not on our radar. But if they're not back and Rodgers is gone, then we can take a shot with Jackson Dart or Kyle McCord or one of these guys, something like that. Giuliani Flores should be the number 1 guy, but the owners stick together. We'll see what Flores is able to do. For those who don't know, Flores is the one who got screwed in Miami, by the way. For those who didn't read the report, Stephen Ross was a wrongdoer. Tom Brady was a wrongdoer. Brian Flores did nothing wrong. He got screwed by them. They wanted him to tank. He refused. Flores is the one who came out smelling like a rose, not the other ones. And then secondarily, he filed a lawsuit because Bill Belichick congratulated him on getting the job with the Giants when he hadn't even interviewed yet. And it's speculated that Belichick thought he was sending that text to Brian Daboll, which means that Belichick knew that Daboll had the job before Flores even interviewed for it. So once again, he's getting screwed. I mean, the man is legitimately getting screwed in these situations. But of course, people want to have their opinions about, about his actions there. I think reading through all that, I think he's the one that got screwed legitimately. And now he's rehabbed his image. He did 1 year working with Tomlin. Now he's worked with KOC. So I like Flores. I would say he's my number two. Aaron Glenn being number one at this point now that Vrabel's gone. So we'll have to see. Jeffrey R., what's up? Bring up some chats. What's up, Jeffrey R.? Yeah, so this is the other thing about, Brian Flores, and he's discussed this and said he's learned from it. Obviously, he didn't handle Tua the best way, so that's a legitimate criticism of Flores. I would think he's going to bring in, as a head coach, he's going to bring in, and with input with the GM. So hopefully, so there you had Chris Greer, who's been the GM for 20 plus years. And whatever happens, they can. I guess they're not firing Chris Greer under any circumstances for whatever the reason. So Greer's been there. He hires Flores, and Greer has the power. And Greer wanted Tua, and Flores wanted Herbert. So they get Tua, and I think that it's a legitimate criticism of Flores that he didn't handle Tua properly. But hopefully what you have is an organization that's aligned on what you want and what you get, especially at the quarterback position. And so that there's no conflict. And you have to hope that Flores learned from that. And also, we don't have a lot of choices. We're not going to get, there's not a long list of guys. So Harlan's saying, what about hiring a GM first? Okay, we hired the GM. What does the list of head coaches change, Harlan? It's the same list. It's the same guys. So what's the difference? Omatic is here. So I would say with Flores, yes, it's a legitimate concern what happened with Tua. But of course, you would talk to him about that on the interview and see what he says about it. And what he has said publicly is that he learned from it, and he's a better coach because of it. But it's a legitimate concern for sure. And Phil says, we'll get an offensive mind. Right. Which one? You want Matt Nagy? Would you like Matt Nagy? All the coaches on the list, there's really only two that are offensive mind, Nagy and Arthur Smith. Which one you want, Phil? Would you like Matt Nagy or Arthur Smith, Phil? Which one you want, buddy? Because those are the only two offensive minds that we have on our list. Matt Nagy, Arthur Smith. Which one you want, Phil? Which one would you like? Those are your choices. Those are our offensive minds. Matt Nagy, Arthur Smith. Pick your poison. Infrared says, Ruckert is a bust. That's true. But maybe he can turn it around. Yeah, Jeffrey says Aaron Glenn's my guy. Me too, but what if we miss out on him, Jeffrey? Phil says Gruden. Well, Gruden's interesting. I like John Gruden as a candidate, but he's not on our list. So I showed the list earlier, Phil, if you were here. He's not on our list. And he's not on anyone's list. He's not reported to have been interviewed anywhere, Phil. So I like Gruden as a candidate. I would have brought him in. And I actually came up with the idea of the Gruden combo platter, where you get Jay and John Gruden. So I like the Gruden idea, but he's not on our list. We have a long list of guys that we either have interviewed or will interview, and he's not on it. And he's not on anyone's list. All 6, now 5 of the openings, nobody is talking to Gruden. So I think he's still out, I guess. But Aaron Glenn's my guy. Yeah. So Jeffrey, that's what I think too. I'm just hoping the Saints don't steal him or some other team. Phil says Flores gets second chance and John Gruden doesn't. Well, like I said, I like Gruden, but he's not on anybody's list, Phil. What do you want me to tell you? He's not being reported as interviewing anywhere. That's what the reporting is. What do you want me to tell you? Yeah, so this would be the only thing we could really do. I'm in agreement with Jeffrey here. If it's not Glenn, then we just go for McCown, and you just got to hope and pray that I mean, he's not the most experienced guy. Obviously, we just got to hope and pray that maybe he turns out to be a McVay type and not a Gase type. McCown's really, I would say, for me, it's probably Glenn, Flores, and then if we can't get either of those two guys, then it's McCown. So we just got to hope and pray with McCown because there's not a lot to go off of with him other than he's well regarded, he's likable, all that. Quarterback whisperer. Yeah, so I think this is probably the way it's going to go. If we miss out on Glenn, Jet 41 says, then just take a shot with McCown. Yes, it's early, but nobody else screams upset. Yeah, this is the way it is, Jet 41. This is what I'm thinking. It's probably either Glenn, so it probably goes Glenn, Flores, McCown. I'm not really interested in anybody else. I'd be interested in that's on our list. I'd be interested in Gruden, but he's not on our list, so I guess we're not talking to him. I would like to get Gruden in here. I don't understand why Gruden's not on the list. I'd like to get him in here just to talk to him. He's a genius offensive mind, at least. Yeah, have a conversation. Why not have a little combo? I mean, the man's very experienced. You could learn something. Yeah, I don't understand why he's not even on the list. Yeah, Joe Brady's not on my list. He is on our list. So Joe Brady had the greatest team of all time at LSU. Then, so remember, he went from LSU with Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and a bunch of NFL players on defense, widely considered the greatest team of all time in the college ranks of LSU. They set all kind of records. He goes to Carolina Panthers, falls flat on his face when he doesn't have elite talent, gets fired in the middle of the season, then winds up as the quarterback coach of the Bills, and only gets promoted when Ken, the human horsey Dorsey, has a flip out on camera when they couldn't snap the ball to the quarterback, and he flips out and throws all his papers all over the place. And then they fire him, and then Brady gets elevated to coach Josh Allen, where the playbook is Josh Allen run around and do stuff. That's the playbook. So I'm a no on Joe Brady. Well, this is not true, Markovich. That's not true. I am not well regarded or likable. Yeah, this is what you'd have to hope, Jet 41, that McCown's the next KOC or Sean McVay type. That would be, I mean, I think that would be an acceptable Hail Mary if we can't get any of these top guys. But they're talking about, trying to get experienced dudes. If you got a McCown, then your GM would be very important. I don't know. I wouldn't want to pair him up with Grigson. So maybe a Borgonzi McCown pairing would be good. And I would say if you get a McCown, then you make a big push to get Borgonzi in here. Like you just, whatever he wants, just give it to him. Make sure you don't lose him to Tennessee or Las Vegas. So Jeffrey says, I would like Pete Carroll. Well, he's not on our list, Jeffrey. Not on the list. So I don't think we're talking to him. Do I think we should talk to him? Absolutely. I think we should talk to more people. I don't understand why it's a bad thing to talk to people. Get Pete Carroll on the list. He had a lot of success, obviously. I'm just checking for any late breaking news here. Doesn't seem to be. All right, so Joe Mike. Frankie, have we signed Glenn? Did we really need 33? Well, we needed the 33rd team to do some vetting for sure, for one thing. So don't forget, they vetted all the candidates for general manager, of which there are hundreds, and then head coach. Obviously, we didn't need them to identify Aaron Glenn. I mean, I think everybody's aware of Aaron Glenn. But don't forget, so they had to do all that vetting of all the people who would not be good fits, who doesn't want to come here, who do we not want to waste our time with. So they did all the vetting. So that's important. Second, those two are in the interviews. Tannenbaum and Spielman are in the interviews. There was basically 5 people in the interviews. Those two plus Jaime never gets any criticism, plus Christopher and Woody. So they needed them, I think, to have a good. They basically created a hiring committee, and they didn't feel comfortable with the people, enough of the people on their executive team. So obviously they took 3 from the Jets: Woody, Christopher, Jaime, and they said, all right, let's add these 2 experienced guys from outside, Tannenbaum and Spielman, and let's create a hiring committee, and let's let them be in the interviews. Well, I guess they didn't feel comfortable with who they have on hand, so they needed 2 more. So it wasn't that they identified Aaron Glenn; it's that they did all these interviews and wrote up the notes and all that, all the administrative work and all that. So I don't have any problem with that process. And in fact, it used to be done by Jed Hughes and Korn Ferry, and one of the other teams is already using Jed Hughes and Korn Ferry. So it's the same process. It's just the 33rd team has a new offering, service offering. So might as well. Jeffrey, I don't want Grigson. Yeah. I'm on the same page as you, Jeffrey. No Grigson. All the other guys are fine. Borgonzi's probably my favorite of the ones on the list, but no Grigson. Is Ulbrich going to get canned? Yeah, all the coaches are going to get canned in for it. They're all gone, probably. I mean, unless somebody wants to bring back Ulbrich, I can't see Ulbrich or anybody coming back from our staff. And that includes Brant Boyer. Brant Boyer needs to get out of here. It's enough with Brant Boyer and the special teams and Mr. Leg Talent. Enough. Time for you to get out of here, Boyer. All right, so that's it for today. All right, so I'll be back 8 o'clock tonight for the Sunday night football game. Come check it out, hang out for the live watch along as we watch other teams in the playoffs, because obviously the Jets are not in the playoffs, nor are they probably going to be there anytime soon, unfortunately. So we've been taking a look on this channel at other teams in the playoffs. Why not do a watch along, see how they play in the playoffs? Since the Jets, obviously, not so hot in that regard. But if you haven't done so already, please click the like button, hit the subscribe button. Why not subscribe to the channel? And also click the bell. Why not? Just to keep things updated in terms of new content. So I'll see you guys tonight at 8. Thanks for joining me, and I'll